Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. 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 It's good to have you here. We are finally here. It's finally time to reveal the render challenge winners. The first render challenge, which is epic. We're gonna have way more now in the future. The way this turned out, spoiler alert, I'm so excited for the future and the challenges as well. But this one, what a great start. What's up with the watches? The challenge was called the last 24-hour render challenge. So the watches, right? Makes sense now, doesn't it? It is stupid. I will take it off. And these glasses are kind of stupid as well. I can't see anything. All right, welcome. We'll let people roll in. And then, I don't know if you guys read the agenda or not. It is available in the description. But we'll start off. Just introductions, have a chat right now in the beginning. And then eventually, the next part would be to watch the compilation video, which will be a compilation of all the entries you guys submitted. Right? That would be cool. That would be fun. The video turned out great. I loved making it. That's why it took a little bit of time. The challenge ended on like August the 2nd and it's been 20 days. It took a little bit of time to make it because I was trying to make it as good as possible. And I think it's good enough to finally release it. By the way, how is the audio and everything else? Everything good? Let's go. Where are you going to upload the compilation? So on the live stream, you will be the first ones to watch it. So that's the benefit you get to join the live stream. But once the live stream is over, the video will be uploaded as a normal video on the channel as well. So even if you miss it right now, you can watch it later on. Yeah. Welcome. I'm so glad almost 80 entries. Actually over that, but I think 80 entries at the end of it were what qualified. And I was shocked. I was expecting like 20 or 30 people to submit, but first of all, a lot of people submitted, and those submissions were so cool. I mean, even if it was made by like some beginners or early intermediate users, you wouldn't take them as bad pieces of art because this is like a community thing. You can't judge it based on its quality, etc. The story works, all together. The prompt that we had, what would you do if all you had left were 24 hours? That story alone takes out all your critique towards how the render looks and if you're a beginner or not. So that was the best part of editing this compilation video together. For anyone who didn't participate in the challenge, the whole concept of the challenge was I gave people a template file which just had like a basic camera movement and nothing else. And I gave them a prompt of you have to illustrate what would you do if all you had left were 24 hours to live? What would you do in those 24 hours? So people made stuff using that prompt. And boy, did they make some good stuff. Yeah. Am I on the challenge? I don't know. You might find out while watching the compilation video. If somebody did submit like a wrong entry which broke rules or which had like a lot of problems and errors, I just couldn't. I emailed them and I asked them to, fix their issues. I just didn't disqualify them. But, still some people didn't reply or didn't care enough to make changes. So I think we had like 3 or 4 disqualifications at the end. Most people did make the fixes and send the new file. So which is great. What the hell is that? Just 3 things. Hey, buddy, what are you doing here? Welcome to the cult. That audio, I did not know I had set that up. What was that? Change the chat text color to what? Black? Yeah, I did try it, but it doesn't look great even with that. So I don't know what can I do. Maybe move it somewhere darker. Is this better? Thank you for contacting people for fix. Yeah, I know. That was a lot of work. I did not expect. So the biggest mistake that most people did was they got the FPS wrong. A lot of people made the scene in 30 FPS within Blender, but I think they took it to Premiere or Resolve, wherever they do the post-processing, and then rendered that out in 24 FPS, which was the most common mistake that most people made. I didn't message everyone who made that FPS error because that's such a tiny issue, So what I did was I just sped up most of the animations a little bit so it fits the 30 FPS rule. Other than that, some people changed the focal length a little bit from 2.8 to 2.0, the aperture, I mean. But overall, because if 80 submissions came in, around 30 people made mistakes that needed to be fixed, but that made the rest 50 of the entries. I mean, I appreciated them so much because they did follow the rules and they did everything according to the rules. That didn't come in my decision making to choose the winners overall, but yeah, it was fun to see people following rules properly. It's okay if you missed it. If it was your first challenge or you're new to Blender, that's fine. That can happen. But yeah. Maybe take inspiration from Punisher and have a bit of despair so you don't spend weeks on that. I will be working on that. What about judges? I thought about adding judges, but these were just 80 entries. Didn't want to disturb other creators. If by chance we get better output in the future for the future challenges, my condition was if I got over 100 entries, I would bring in other people. But it's okay. I mean, I think I'm capable enough to decide the winners, right? Remove the glasses. Why? Actually, I do need to remove them. I can't see shit. Oh, it's so bright. All right. Is everyone here? I'm assuming everyone is here. So I'll cue the compilation video now. It has. So this needs to be said. First of all, get your earphones or headphones ready. Otherwise, this will not be fun, right? You need to hear the sound effects and the music because that's the best part, along with the renders, of course. First do that. Get your earphones. I'll give you a minute or two. The next thing I wanted to say was the arrangement of the compilation. Like if, say, a render appeared early on the timeline, and if some render ended up on the last part of the timeline, it doesn't matter. It's not an indicator of if you won the challenge or not. It's just arranged in a way that would work as a YouTube video. Basically, that's it. So don't take the arrangement of it, the sorting of it into consideration at all. All right. Earphones ready? I hope so. Let me prepare the compilation video real quick. All right. Let's go. In a few seconds. Just checking a few things before we play it. Again, the agenda is we'll look at the compilation video first, right? The chat will be removed in the final thing, so you don't need to worry about that. So we'll watch the compilation video, then we'll go through each of the entries, see if we can, I can critique them a little bit and see what we could do to make it better. That's the plan. After that, and then we'll reveal the top 16 winners, which is an odd number, but there were 16 entries that I felt, needed a shout out because it was the renders were really cool. And then we'll reveal the last three winners, the top 3 winners basically. Yeah. All right, ready? Let's do this. By the way, is my audio clipping when I'm talking really loudly? That shouldn't happen. Check. 1, 2, 3. Hello. I don't think so. All right. Let's get to it. Are you ready? Here we go. All right. 3, 2, 1. If there's a problem and something happens, the audio is weird or not, we'll start again. So I shouldn't build it up too much. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. No audio? E. Whoa. Calm the fuck down. Alright, I don't know how to fix this. Okay, so you didn't get any audio. Let me look into that. But how do I do that? I think I got it. Sorry about that. I think I messed something up. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. That was anticlimactic. I'm sorry. Should we give it a try again? Yes. Sorry about that. I think I messed up some setting there. Boop. All right. We good? Let's go again. If you don't get audio, ping right away. Okay? Because the music is important. All right. Let's begin again. Oh God, please. Do not fuck me up this time. Let's go. Was that crazy or what? Wasn't that crazy? Hell yeah. Let's go. You should be proud of yourself. Applause for you guys, whoever participated. That was so sick. Very emotional. Is that weird that when I watched the whole thing, I felt like a weird emotion inside. Like, oh God, this is something that we all together made. You know, it's a collective experience. I think that's what that is. Yes? Kinda cliche to say that, but you know, that's what I felt. There were like 3 renders. I'll make my last render and one of them is me. Yeah. Your render was the perfect end. Ah, thank you. She was wearing underwear. Was no need to hide anything. They like, you're the creator, right, of that shot. YouTube is kind of, you know, iffy about that stuff. You never know. Like, I don't want the behind of that lady to bring down the reach this video could get, you know. It's a silly reason to bring down the, you know, the reach of the whole video. So people still get the idea. I think that's a good render at the end of the day. I don't think you should mind the blur. Anyway, mine was the second to last. Thought I'd mess up my submission. Had me on edge. Oh yeah, you could feel that. Yeah. I understand that. I'm sure some people might not have seen their render. If that's the case, let me know in the chat. So yeah, you added SFX for my video too. I added it for all of them. A little bit, like just a little bit of sound effect on the left or the right part, just to give you like a little bit of feel of what's going on in the render. You know, not everybody submitted sound effects. Some people did submit, but it just didn't fit the music and the whole vibe of the whole thing. So I redid the sound effects for a lot of them. A lot of the quotes didn't make any sense. Whatever they've made and the quote they had submitted didn't match. So I contacted some of those people and I asked them to change it up a little bit so it supports the render. Yeah, incredible visuals. That's you guys. You guys did it. I got the last 3 minutes before setting up, so I missed it all. Does it play again later? You will be able to watch this later on YouTube. I will upload this as a single video as well. Thank God I random made it to the compilation. I was banging my head thinking if I missed the mail or something. No, you made it. You're good. How can I join in this type of challenges? Join the Discord. So this challenge just got over. We'll have another one in a month's time or 2 months' time, I think. Yeah. It's a fun experience. I mean, you should have looked at the Discord feedback channel. Like, that's where people submitted their renders asking for feedback, like, does this look good or does it not look good, etc., etc. And that was my favorite part of the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah, that was cool, right? Should we get to the review critique slash, I don't know what this next part is. We're just discussing each entry, giving them the importance they deserve, basically. Was it hard to choose the winners? It was. I mean, the top 3 winners was hard to choose. Because it's not just about the render, because I mean, it's the whole deal, right? Like, what the story is with your render and the quality of your render. There are a lot of aspects going into it, you know. So yeah, selecting the top 16, not that hard. That was easier, but selecting the top 3 was hard. Good song. I don't know. I'll link it in the YouTube description. It was such a perfect fit for the vibe I was going for, because this is kind of like end of the world kind of vibe, even though some of the renders were just funny, you know, people took the funny angle, but the music fits all. I feel like it has that the world is ending kind of vibe. That's why I chose it. First time seeing something I created on YouTube may sound silly, but incredible moment for me. Hey, I understand that. Mine was the car chase one. Yes, I remember. So I think that's what this is. This feeling of community. I feel like, yeah. Let's not get soapy and cliche again. Let's get to the resolve screen here, and let's discuss each of the entries. With that, I think we'll go through each of the entries really quickly, then reveal the winners, and then go to sleep, I guess. Almost thought I didn't make it. I understand that. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people felt that. Anyway, let's do this resolve thing now. All right, here we are on the timeline. Let's see, this was the first entry by Anand. I'd go for one last hike. Great render, right? The smoke is great, the vibes are great. The shape of the mountain is great. I think I've seen something like that in a vlog of Iceland or somewhere, like in Europe, Scotland or Iceland, I don't remember. Yeah. Great vibes. I think the lens dirt and lens flares was a little too much. Although it doesn't affect the scene at all. It's just a tiny critique to give you, right? But pretty cool render. The vibes were great on this one. Yeah. I'm so thankful you made this challenge for us. Oh my God. Are you kidding? I mean, I have nothing to gain from this. And what I mean by that is, like, I did nothing to make this challenge, you know. All I had to do was come up with an idea, and then you made it successful. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, this was a cool render. No thought behind why they should go first. It just felt like the tagline, I'd go for one last hike, kind of makes sense. After after the introduction I had in the video, I felt like this just, you know, makes it clear the angle, I mean, the approach people will take throughout this video. It's not just about going to meet your parents or going out with your friends and stuff like that. It could be just as simple as going on a hike, basically. All right, this was a great render. Awesome work. Let's get to the next one. This was from Dylan Sim. Great render again. I love the miniature style of this. So a lot of people struggled with scale overall because it was a weird kind of camera situation. It had a really low aperture count and the resolution was really low and it was really flat and cinematic. So a lot of people had trouble with the scale, but I think this is one of the renders which made use of the scale situation really well. Everything just looks like a miniature, and I think that's a really cool stylistic choice. And the overall detail here is crazy, right? The planks, the TV, the fire, and then some detail here as well. And then we go to the background part, and the wires here, and the signal, and the explosion, just beautiful. I love this one. Pretty cool. Good job, Dylan Sim. It did have a little bit of noise here, which is a problem that a lot of renders had. It had a lot of temporal noise, which is just this flickering thing that you see here. I tried to fix it as much as I could in Resolve, but you know, it's still there a little bit, but it's okay. It can happen. Oh, this was another great one from Alexo, if I'm not wrong. Great story, great tagline. Look at the quality of that teddy bear. It's beautiful, right? And the fire in the background also great. The story is great. The color grade is great. It's just beautiful. Love this one. Yeah. Pretty cool. And the detail in the background, you know, you can see the effort, the cable lines here in the background, and the people wearing some high-waist jackets, you know. Great details. Love this one as well. Then we had this one from Fru Hansen, if I'm pronouncing that right. A beach scene, nice. Is that dude, if I'm not, oh, he is wearing an underwear. While I was editing this, I didn't zoom in this much. I thought he was not wearing anything, but yeah, that's a relief. The birds are a great detail. The slippers are great. The wind animation on the grass, great detail. The water is great. The only feedback I could give you is I think the horizon kind of seems weird. Maybe you could add some depth through volumetrics. That's it. It's not a crazy critique. It's not something that you had to do. Just something I felt that could make that horizon line, you know, not so drastic. The line seems way too clear. I feel like. Anyway, the birds were great. The sound design on this was really good. I removed it because it didn't fit the music, but Yeah, the sound design was also great on this one. Great foreground, great background, great work overall. Oh, this one, another one. Great story here. Come home soon, mom. I tried love, and then some drawing, some kids drawing, and then this astronaut in the background and a spaceship. Bunch of detail here in the glass. Pretty cool, right? And there's a hand floating here, which is a great detail. There's a helmet floating there, and the earth visible here in the far background. Great render. Really cool. Harish, great job, man. And the color grading was also pretty cool. How did you do the transitions? The transition was built into the blend file, believe it or not. That was a big mistake. I will not do that again, because a lot of the entries, this dark part, because they post-processed their entries in different softwares, the dark part which was there in the blend file, the black values also differed in each of the entries. So I had to make some adjustments where the dark values were the same in each entry. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that transition plane was not a good idea overall. Anyway, great render. Love this one. Wilson VFX, another great one. Great colors on this, right? Like the red, blue, white. The vibes are great. I would get to one last gig. Great, unique idea. The phone angle is great. The background is great. The only critique is the animation on the dude is kind of, it seems a little CGI, which is fine, because the overall vibe is great. The smoke here, the crowd animation, the phones here, the security guard here. Look at that detail. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. And the pillars here and the screen here, great vibes. What a great render. Love this one as well. I'd Marry My First Love. Again, great story. Simple scene, right? A lot of people, I think, tried making like complex scenes and complex stories and poetic stories overall. What I think is simplicity, I think translates at every level. And a simple story like this, a flower bouquet and two people holding hands in front of a church-like structure, that's it. That's all you need sometimes, If you wanted, the creator, if the artist wanted to add more detail here, because this is just a photo scan overall, isn't it? Like you can see the blobby parts of the photo scan. You could add a bunch of detail here, and that's fine. Adding detail is not a crime, but keeping it simple, that's where I think a lot of people fail, and I think simplicity translates really well. So this was great. The floor, the characters, they're not even moving, by the way. Like they're not animated. They're pretty still there, right? No movement there, but still, I love this one. Pretty cool. Great job, Utpal. Oh, this one is also pretty good. I feel like going the non-photorealistic way is a great cheat code these days. I feel like this render overall, it's simple scene, just based on complexity, right? The city buildings, they look like simple blocks. The character looks simple. The bag looks pretty simple. The grass looks overall simple. I'm not trying to put your render down or anything, but you add that stylistic, non-photorealistic touch to something like this, which is overall simplistic. I think you just take it to the next level. I think that's like a cheat code, and I love this. I think this was on the thumbnail just because the colors on the bag were really cool overall. Yeah, pretty cool render. The leaves falling are great. The person drinking the coffee is great. The title is great. The vibes are great. The city, again, you don't need to add a realistic city skyline in the background. Just blocks there in the background were great, I feel like. The astronaut one was so cool. Yeah, I know. Pretty cool. All right, this great vibes. The outline and the freestyle design. I love this one as well. This one is from Viz. I'd bring my hover bike to life and escape before time ran out. This was also pretty cool. Look at the detail here on the computer screen. That's me, right? I feel like that's me. Is that a way to, bribe yourself? Like bribe me to think your render is cool? I would fall for it. I didn't notice it before, to be honest with you. I just saw it. The surface imperfections on the keyboard, pretty cool. Table, the colors, the detail here on the screen, and the hover bike animation there. And the foreground is just the beginning. I think the background. Look at the background. Look at the animation there. People just going by And isn't this the Einar character from the Blender Studio character that was there in their short film? Great idea. Why build a character from scratch when you can get such a high quality model here? And the detail here, look at this animation here, by the way. This wallpaper kind of thing is also flapping, and the smoke simulation in the background, the colors, and the overall vibe. Love this. And the cloth line here, the air conditioner here, just beautiful. Charge, that's right, titanium. Yeah, you got it. That's exactly, yeah. Great render Wiz. Good job. Great details. Yeah. I would go for one last forest walk by It's Me Hugo. Great quality on the backlight, right? And the vibes are great. It's a simple scene, again, but the vibes, the non-photorealistic kind of vibes are just awesome. Love this one. Simple story again, just a backlight and someone walking into a forest. Simple stuff. Great. I loved it. This one was full of detail from Ren. I'd wait for the last time in the future world with a drink. This robot character, awesome character. I don't know if you made it from scratch. A lot of these, I'm sure, used a bunch of assets from the internet, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But look at the detail here. Doing that, even using assets in the right way and to put them in the scene and compose them in a nice way is a difficult job to do. And look at the animations on the explosions. Look at the colors there. The explosion look so realistic, and the news here is such a nice detail, and the warning sign on the glass is such a futuristic touch to everything. The storytelling here is just amazing. Loved it. Look at the buildings. Look at the quality of the buildings. Just great. Awesome. I mean, I wouldn't be able to make something like this. It's so high quality and so complex. Yeah, pretty great. This one is from Arc Sphere. I'd sit and watch the final sunset with the love of my life, which is a great story, great render, great dusk vibes. Look at the plane here. Ooh, amazing quality, and the characters are pretty cool as well. Like, I don't know where you got these characters from. They at least don't seem like Mixamo characters, which is something I pay attention to. And the best thing about this whole render was how you hid the temporal noise here with a wooden block here. Can you see the noise here? He very cleverly hid it behind the thing, which is just so intelligent. Love this render. Love the story. The foreground is great, and you see the boat wiggle here, which is such a great detail as well. Yeah, and the ship is moving here in the background. Great color, great vibes. Beautiful. This one is from Ghoulish Joe. I'd go on an arcane I quest with my guild. Look at the cat here. Beautiful. Great animation. The lantern looks amazing. There's some moths around the lantern, and then in the background is where the real detail is. A bunch of cool looking characters, an orc-like character, an elf-like character, if I'm not wrong, a human-like character. The fire looks really cool. If you focus here, the fire looks great. The skeleton, look at the run cycle on that skeleton, and then a toad appears here on the left, which is, yeah. And look at the explosion here. Boom. Ooh, look at the quality there. How the hell did you do that? I mean, you should be on this side, if I'm being honest with you. You know, because I couldn't do this. This is insanity. Yeah, love this. Hold on, just checking a few things. Give me a second. Yeah, all right. Love this render. Great vibes. Again, going for that kind of non-photorealistic vibe, and I think that works great for a render like this. Yeah, love this one. All right, this one is from Capture Painting. I'd grab one last beer and laugh with my buddies at the old spot. Great idea, first of all, and these unique looking claymation kind of characters. What a great touch. Great detail. Look at the clay material on these cans and the cigarettes. This is just beautiful. Yeah, great simple story again. Right. Very a cliche story, not to insult you in any way, but it's a cliche story to go hang out with your friends in your last 24 hours, right? It's not a unique idea, but still, you don't have to force yourself to think of a unique idea just to stand out. A simple idea executed like in this unique stylistic way, I think gives you way more points than a unique idea, I feel like. So yeah, great detail on this. Loved this one. You added a stash. Yeah, I observe these things, by the way. Don't worry. I know where you put references like that. I paid attention to it. And the sad thing is, since that was like an ego boost in a tiny way, like, oh, I exist in this render in some way or form. My brand exists. I took that into consideration while judging your render, which is just a mean thing to do. I'm kidding. I didn't obviously choose winners based on if you had my logo in your render or not, but it was a weird feeling to see that logo there. Anyway, this was another great one by Ritsu, if I'm not wrong. I'd be chilling with my dog. Great idea. Again, simple. Keep it real. Keep it relatable. A great Oppenheimer-like explosion in the background. Loved that. And the wind chimes here in the foreground also. Pretty cool. Loved this. And the slum kind of design here, like slum shanties here in the foreground and some cities there in the back. Again, the scale of it overall might look off to a lot of people, but I feel like that works as a stylistic choice, if I'm not wrong. Like you could judge it technically you could judge it in a different ways, judge the scale of it, judge the composition of it, but I don't think any of those things matter. Overall the composition of it and the style of it and the story of it works, and that's all that matters, at least to me. Yeah, great render, great idea, great story. Ollie made I'd go to meet my mom, which is the most, everybody would do that more or less if you have a good mother, to be honest with you. And I think, again, playing on that card, playing a relatable card like that, you just nail the story right away. And then the render is pretty cool. And the After Effects bubble kind of thing is also so cool. The animation here, the glow here is just top notch. It did have a lot of noise here in the background. I've tried to fix that in Resolve, and it's still there. Like you can see the wiggling noise here on the left. But, that doesn't matter. It was a clean render. The subway looks cool. The vibes of it look cool. That's a sweaty dude, by the way. A lot of sweat on his cloth. And this is a Miximo dude. I can recognize that. Maybe reduce the metallicness and roughness on the cloth, because a shirt is not supposed to be this shiny, right? But these feedback, don't take them to heart. These are good renders with great composition, great storytelling. It doesn't matter. If you were looking for feedback, that's the only thing I would say to you. All right, then we give a shout out to our sponsors, which is important. If you do end up winning the whole thing, there are a bunch of add-ons that these guys, contributed as prizes to the top 3 winners, which is insane. I just reached out to them on a whim. Hey, would you like to give your add-on for free for a render challenge? They were like, sure. It's like, what the hell? These are some of the biggest add-on creators on the Blender market, and they were like, yeah, sure, take our add-on for free. We don't care about money, which is insane. Anyway, this was another one by Boss Pod. Great space themed idea. I would steal a spaceship and gaze down upon the Earth. The Earth looks excellent, by the way. I don't know where you got that asset or you made it yourself. Great detail. The asteroid telling the story that this is going to hit our planet, and then he's escaping in a spaceship. Great idea. Awesome idea. Then this snake render. I am terrified of snakes, so let's not hover over that for too long. But again, great story. I'd sit in silence and revisit the life I once lived. Great camping kind of environment. I love the fire here in the background. I hate the snake, not because it's badly made, but I just hate looking at snakes. The character is pretty cool. I don't know where that character is from, but love the fireflies here in the background. And is that a firefly? Is that supposed to be a firefly? I think so. Yeah. I see one here on the left side as well. Great render, great vibes. Love this as well. Nayan, great job. Then came Rohit. I'd get ready to fight the T-Rex. Great animation on this as well. I don't have the audio turned on because that would just, deafen you, because we are in Resolve, and that can, suddenly increase the volume and just, deafen you basically. So let's not do that. Again, great render here. The vignetting of the whole thing looks great. The animation on the T-Rex looks great, and the character in the foreground looks great. The vibes, again, you could judge it technically, like, oh, this does not look photorealistic per se, but I don't care about that. Look at the uniqueness of this render. It looks like it doesn't need to be photorealistic. It has a style of its own, and that's what matters to me, at least. Yeah, pretty cool. Love this one. Great job, Rohit. This one is from Dipt Art Co. I stood with the storm, my tea, and the game that held my childhood. Which game is that? Do I know this game? I think I don't. I was not a big gamer when I was a child, but the render here is great. The rain, the droplets here, the bokeh on the droplets, beautiful. I loved that. And the thunderstorm and the pylons in the background, and the vibe here in the foreground. The only issue I have with this render is I think you edited this in Premiere Pro, and then the lines, the interlaced lines, I don't know what you call them, these horizontal CRT kind of lines, they don't match with the rest of the renders. So when it transitions into this scene, you'll notice that there's a clear difference, right? You see this interlaced effect on the whole thing, which kind of, it made the compilation a little incohesive, which is fine, because the render is awesome. But I think a lot of people did that. They don't know what the setting is in Premiere Pro, and they just export the thing, and then that messes with the... I don't know if this was a stylistic choice, could be a stylistic choice as well, but that was the only issue here. But great vibes here. Blue-orange combination of the lights. Great stuff. Loved it. By the way, I'm rushing through it because we don't want to waste unnecessary time on critiquing them. Like, just, going through each and every detail. Let's not do that. This is about the overall community effort. We're not here to roast anybody, so I'm not trying to do that. Yeah, that's why we're rushing through it all. This one is from Burton Visual. I'd fly up high into the sky. Great concept again. Look at the fire simulation here. Again, it's such a stylistic. It looks low res, but again, it looks like a style on its own, which I love. And the foreground again is cool. Tiny details here where he's preparing like this propeller rocket to go up high into the sky. Great story. Loved it. When will the next challenge? You gotta be patient about it. It's hard to manage these challenges. That's a huge problem. So I can't do it like every week. Maybe we'll do it in the month of September, October. Probably. Let's see. This one is from Brisna Art. I'd find a way to extend my timeline and give my younger self a better life. Great story. Great foreground, robotic elements. And then the background is just a still of two characters. Again, you don't need to, if you can't animate, doing a shitty animation, I think it's better to just keep it still. And I think that tells a clearer story, in my opinion. It seems like a stylistic choice. Like he decided to freeze frame on this moment, and that's why the characters are not moving. Great render. The timeline here on the top, and all these details here in the CRT screens, and the timer here, and the characters here, and the room design overall in the background. Great stuff. Loved it. Then came Krishna. I'd fall a warrior, not live as a coward. Great story again. Great detail here in the foreground. I think he also ended up in the thumbnail because the foreground element was so catchy looking, and then the background is also cool. Look at the animation of the character, and then the arrows fall. Great idea. The warriors here in the background, the horse, the design, the clouds, all of it looks so unique. It doesn't look like a render like you got inspired by someone else's render. It seems very original, which a lot of renders do actually throughout this timeline. Like, it doesn't feel like they were inspired by someone else's style. It seems like people have built their own style by mistake or by choice. I don't know. But, it seems very unique, some of the styles. And this was one of them. Look at the flag animation here on the left. Ooh, look at the steam here. The detail on the whatever you call this, the mask thing, the armor thing. Yeah, great. Loved it. Oof. Look at the detail on the skirt. God damn. A lot of these, like I zoomed into a lot of them and observed the different details so I could like realize how much effort went into this and how much detail went. And I keep zooming in and finding new details. That's a key element of a good render, I feel like. The more you zoom in, the more details you find. Like look at the dead bodies here. You don't register them right away when you look at this render, but then you see all these details later on once you zoom into it, right? Anyway, let's go on to the next one. This one is from Kareem. I would light up the sky, which is a great idea. I think this is something people would do, actually. They would get these, whatever these things are called, and actually do this thing. Am I right? I'm not. I feel like it. Yeah. The foreground is great. The background even better. The ocean movement, I feel like, is a bit too fast. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that. That was loud. The ocean movement seems a little, procedural, but that's fine. Again, these are not hardcore critiques. This is just something that I observed. Again, the horizon line could be dimmed down with the volumetric, but I think, again, this is a cool render. Look at this one flickering here in the background. Was that by choice? I think it was. No, because there's some clipping issues here. If this was by choice, that was pretty cool, but I don't think so now that I look at the rest of them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Great animation on the balloon-like things. Also, like look at the animation here on the top right. Pretty cool. Yeah, great. Loved it. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. This is from Phantom Junior. I grew one last time to my favorite playlist. That's something I would do. Like I would just listen to music. Is that weird? Look at the detail here in the background. The computer has shut down because probably the world is ending, and this guy is just chilling in his balcony and listening to some nice turntable. What do you call this? A vinyl machine. Listening to some music, and this Fallout character here in the foreground. Great detail here. The sound design on this, I think you had sound design pretty cool, and the city here in the background, far background, also pretty cool. And look at the cloth animation on this. Woo! And look at the imperfections in the glass. I love these details, by the way. I feel like it's a big thing for me. If I zoom in and find tinier details in the render, that's something I can appreciate a lot. Yeah, pretty cool render. Great coat, relatable coat. Loved it. And the character is pretty cool as well, and the cloth simulation is pretty cool. This one is from Marvy Productions. I rise again, knowing every end is a new beginning. The background elements here are great. Again, so unique, right? They feel so unique. Like, what is this world? I want to explore this more. The only issue I have, it's not an issue, but it's like something that I observed. I feel like the foreground element lacked detail. It felt like it didn't. Maybe I'm missing the story here. If that's the case, let me know. But I think you could add some stuff here so it would tell the story even better, because I'm confused when I look at the foreground and then the background. It does look, unique, and the vibes are great, and the render quality is great. But you could work on the story in the foreground element a little bit. That's it. But again, still great render. Love this. Whatever the hell is going on here is great. Love the story here. Then it's Utpal. I would end them all. I think this is a zombie kind of storytelling. This is a Mixamo character, I think, right? Pretty cool. Again, in a what do you call this? A laundromat, and this helmet, this racer character just shooting down people, and this zombie crawling towards him. Great. I would have loved like him turning towards the zombie and shooting him, but I can understand that seems like a difficult thing to do, and I don't know what level you are at right now. If you're a beginner, I'm sure that must be tough to do, or even render it out. Like if you have a weak computer, I understand that. But again, great idea, great animation on the zombie. Then came this car animation, pretty good. Like the movement on it, like if I just scroll through it, the way it transitioned into the scene is so cool. Like look at this, boom. And then he turns, the car turns to the left and reveals the background element, and then we zoom into that, and then we swipe out of the out of the animation. That's the movement on it. I feel like, as I said, I don't know if I mentioned it in the original video, but the way you use the template, if you have like a unique approach to using the template file, I think that gives you brownie points. And this is an example of using it in a unique way, I feel like. Great render quality on the car, both cars. I think the only thing you could work on is the road and the environment. Like I can see the plane hovering here and the scatter systems here on the left and right. You could maybe put a better material on it, but again, this could be you could be a beginner, an early user of Blender, and maybe you didn't have the time, maybe you didn't have the resources to render this out. But the movement, the car motion is perfect. I think you could put a little more effort on the road and the surroundings, but that's it. It's a cool render, irrespective. Then comes this render. I think this guy submitted another one, which was not great for YouTube, to be honest with you. And I think I forgot to mention that you're not allowed to submit NSFW submissions. So he made a change, made this, which was slightly more appropriate for YouTube. I still blurred things out because I don't want to take risks with YouTube. YouTube could do anything with a situation like this, but this is such a cool concept. Like, I feel like people would be afraid to tackle a topic like this, but he didn't give a shit. It was such a unique angle to the storyline. Loved this one. Great render. Let's not hover over it too much though, because again, don't want to risk the live stream being taken down. But it's such a great render. I would suggest go to the Discord feedback channel and check it out. The original submission that he had was even better. The animation on that was just insane. I would definitely recommend checking it out on Discord if you have it. Right, all right. I'd love to live life again. Simple render, simple vibes, just a candle and a book and a character. I don't know if this is like a rooftop or a ship, like a situation, like somebody standing on the edge of a ship or something. But I love the color combination and the lighting overall. Seems like a beginner scene, but it's a clean render. Why do something like plan an overambitious scene when you don't have the resources and the skills because you're early in this Blender journey, right? So he took the simple route, but I mean, who cares if it's simple, right? It tells a good story and it's a good vibe. That's all that matters, at least to me. This one is from Neon Dark. I would throw away my phone and watch the cinematic world end. Great vibes here again. He used the non-photorealistic cheat code again, right? But the stuff looks great. The hexagonal lens flares, great touch. And the way he throws his phone is also pretty unique. Like the way it bounces, I found that pretty cool. The vibes here are so unique. Yeah, love the detail here, love the character. Again, you're just cheating using this non-photorealistic filter thing, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this NPR stuff is just an easy way to grab attention, I feel like. Great render. Loved it. This one is from Hritam Mitra. I would blend every memory into one final render. Great. I observed the logo, by the way. I see it. I see the shout out. Great screen. Like the LED screen on the computers look great. The foreground character looks great. And the explosion, the comet trail also looked great. Loved this one. Again, it's a simplistic composition. There are not a lot of elements here. A few buildings here in the background, a sky in the background, a character in the foreground, a computer screen, and that's about it. I think the toughest thing to render here would be the comet here. But that's it. Again, you don't need to be overcomplicated with your scenes. A simple idea like this, could grab my attention or anybody's attention overall. Just because you have like this clear vision of what you want to make. I feel like that's the best way to put it. Yeah, great render. Loved the story here. Then came Forg. I'd stock up and seal the door. Again, great idea. Robot just piling on supplies before the world ends. Great. The red light here in the background, the wind blowing here in the background, and these particles flowing up from the ground, and the way this topples over the sauce bottle or whatever this is. What is this? Is that tomato puree kind of thing, maybe. Yeah, just that toppling over while the robot grabs it. The eyeballs are great. The rust texture on the whole thing is great. Love this idea as well. Then came oceans, and he made a scene with an ocean, which is ironic. I would watch the waves and listen to the soothing ocean sounds all day long. Great choice. Something I would do too if I didn't have a family. Like if my family wasn't a priority, I would definitely go to the beach. Great render, great stuff here in the foreground. Like he's just having a picnic while the world is ending, which is such a fun thing, fun angle to this whole storyline. Love the sky texture here in the background. I don't know what this is though. Like, is that a character? Someone wearing a hoodie or something? What is that? Is that a superhero? Am I missing a context? Is he wearing a suit of some sorts? Is he wearing like a space suit or something? Because I can see his body through the subsurface or translucency of the suit. I'm not sure what that character is. That's the only confusion I have with this render, but love the birds here in the background, the ship in the background, this buoy kind of thing here in the background. Loved it. Love the vibes here. I joined late. That Dip Hardcore one was my render. Thank you so much for the appreciation, man. It means a lot. Love participating in this challenge. Great job. That game was Pokemon. To dodge copyright issues, I had to change the characters. That is smart. You just saved my ass. Because I don't want a copyright strike on that compilation video. That would be a shame. Anyway, let's jump to Thunder Complex's render. I'd throw one last party. Damn. You throw a last party while the world is ending. Look at that. Great composition here. The fireworks look great. I think he was a beginner or an early intermediate, if I'm not wrong. And I think that the ambition here on the scene, based on the level he is on, I think is commendable, right? The motel symbol here, the fireworks in the background, the buildings here. Loved it. Great attempt. It did have some noise issues. I think a lot of beginner artists do have this temporal noise issue. I feel like Blender should think of like the Blender team itself should think of a solution inbuilt into Blender to solve this temporal noise, because I feel like it is pretty common in most renders that have like glossy surfaces. I wish they would find like a built-in solution, but right now you would have to use an add-on or resolve to solve this issue. So I did do some denoising here for renders like this which had this issue, but you know, you can't always completely fix it. This one is from I don't know what your username is, by dude. This I don't know. I had trouble finding these characters to put in here, the stuff that you see here. I couldn't find the characters you had in your name, so I just wrote down whatever I could find. But great render. I would make my last ride, which is a great idea. Like there's a road sign that says bridge, and then a car comes into the scene and they go onto a bridge, like running away from the apocalypse. That's such a great like practical idea. If there's an apocalypse, this is something that you would be doing practically, right? You would be running away in a car. So I love that. Love the character. Like the character is visible here. If you were lazy, you would just leave it empty, right? A lot of people would do that, but I am glad that you didn't do that. Love the way it even transitions to the foreground, like the background element, like the way it just passes through the bridge symbol and then goes into the background. Love that as well. Pretty cool. Then came the render by Girish. I'd make sure to win even if my life was the price. Damn. The foreground element, very similar to that other one, the medieval one that we just saw. A helmet here in the foreground. Love the blood on it. And then the falling animation, I think from Mixamo, also looks pretty cool. Boom. Pretty cool. The fire kind of looks repetitive. I think you could work on that. But overall, the vibe here is just, look at the number of dead bodies here. That is insane. Yeah. It's like the hero fought everyone and finally won, and then he's just ready to die now because he has won the war. What a great story. Again, the different angles that people took on the idea of what would happen, what has happened that is causing these last 24 hours, right? Like, is the world ending? Am I in a medieval kind of war? Am I don't know, like, what is the cause of this apocalypse? Someone chose the volcanic eruption route, someone chose an earthquake, someone chose like an asteroid. Those angles were also pretty interesting to, you know, study. while I was looking at these renders. High Thunder Complex here, I would consider myself an early intermediate user, even though I've been using Blender on over 2.3. The fireworks were just a Pexels video. That's a great idea. A efficient way to put in fireworks into your scene. Anyway, great render by Girish. Let's move on to the next one. Alexa, I'd use the 24 hours to render the render challenge. Right? Pretty meta. Loved it. A clock here in the foreground and a render happening in the background. Pretty cool. Right? Look at the lights. IES lights here in the background. That looks like, right? Anyway, I don't think you meant to do that. Great composition overall. Great RGB lighting. Way to go to capture that rendering. Oh, there's a character here as well. I didn't notice that. Oh shit, I thought that was the chair. I'm sorry. I missed those details. A lot of them. Like I keep zooming in and I keep looking at the secondary details, and then I sometimes forget the primary element. There's a character here. I thought he was the chair. Pretty cool, right? You could add a lot more detail here, like the room could be even more populated, but again, you could have a weak computer and you couldn't render a lot of detail. That's fine. I love the idea here, but yeah, it could use a little more detail if I had to give any feedback. All right, this one is from Felix. I would say goodbye knowingly boarding a ship built on failure. Right, pretty cool, pretty unique idea. The engine malfunctions here, but he still says bye to his wife, which is cool, and then he just walks to the ship, which is getting ready to launch into space. Pretty cool idea. Love the timer here. Love the characters just, and the wife sees that the engine is in malfunction, but she still lets her husband go. What is she doing after that? Is she knocking on the window? Is that not the character going on the ship? I could be wrong. But why is she knocking on the window before he has even left? Not sure. You could clarify the story. Ping me on Discord. Anyway, this one is from Srijan Shekhar. I would rather burn than break beneath hell's rule. God damn, look at the lava here. Look at these particles moving through the scene. Love the grain on it as well, like the grunginess of the whole render is so cool. And the fire animations are just epic. And look at the sun/moon here. Pretty cool. Thank you, the hexagonal lights I made were like the gaming room was. Yeah, I know. I just have a fucked up mind. Love this. The cross here in the keychain and the door opening up and the character just chilling on a wooden chair surrounded by, ooh, look at these hands, dead bodies. Dead bodies coming alive. Woo. Love this. Love the detail on this. Yeah. This one is from Tushar Rajput. I would drift into silence of space. A lot of space-based renders as well. I think 3 or 4 of them. Love the time angle on this. The model here is great. The animation, the zero gravity animation on it is pretty cool. Then, I don't know if you notice or not, this astronaut is kind of like, help me, I'm dying. I don't think there's a way anybody could save you from a destruction of this scale, but I love the detail there. Like I was looking at this render and didn't observe the astronaut, and then I did, and I had a big laugh just looking at that. Love the sparks here as well. Like look at these tiny details. That's what I love about 3D renders. Like you would never observe this spark if you didn't zoom in, right? Love the detail there. Love the planet in the background or a galaxy in the background, and this rim light that the spaceship has. Love that as well. I think this is an EV render if I'm not wrong. That's why I see this weird depth of field effect going on here. But great render for an EV render. This is absolutely crazy. Pretty cool. Sorry about that. Eighth region, actually it was the devil's room horn metaphor in the shape of sun. The cross was hanging upside down to symbolize something apocalyptic about to happen. See these details. I love that you're explaining them here in the chat, because I would never be able to grasp them. This is the kind of detail you went into while making that render. I think we're talking about this one, right? You're talking about devil's horn. See, that's something you don't, I wouldn't pick up right away. I would have to look at it for like hours to pick up a detail like that. And then the opposite of that, a cross here in the keychain is a great contrast, I think. Yeah, pretty cool render, by the way. Yeah, let's move on to Voxel's render. I would spend the final 24 hours with music and my love. Great non-photo, like NPR vibes here as well. Great stereo system here in the foreground, and then two characters just chilling on a rooftop and asteroids coming to finish the world. Such a cozy vibe, even if the world was ending, right? Pretty cool. Love the vibe here as well. Again, the cities are just blocks with cubes for light, right? I don't think any kind of like a laptop with a decent enough GPU and CPU could render something like this. So you have no excuse. If you have a story to tell, you could make something like this and you would be done, right? Anyway, let's move on to the next one. This is from Leandro. I was about to read Leonardo del Santo. I'd land a tail whip on my BMX. That's pretty cool. Look at the animation here. He has some clipping issues. I'm sure he's relatively new to Blender. That's why there's issue with the animation. Like, look at the feet here, and then the animation on the BMX is kind of janky, but I love it. Like, I don't mind the jankiness in the animation. It gives it a character, to be honest. Look at this. Boom. And then look at the clapping here from the background character. I love that as well. See, when the jankiness is uniform throughout the scene, it becomes a style. Look at his hands. Look at his hands, and then boom. Boom. Look at the jerkiness there. I love that. I'm not trying to roast you. This is just I love stuff like this. Yeah. I mean, it's a great attempt. Like, that is an ambitious animation thing to pick up, and then to get it to this stage is also commendable. So I love that. Yeah. Pretty cool. This one is from, I don't know how to say that, Irab cat. I'd go racing, and there are these tiny cars here in the background, and he's setting a record while the world is ending. Such a fun angle to this whole prompt. Love this. Yeah. Love the detail here in the car's motion, and in the background there are landscapes and there are bushes here. Again, seems like someone new to Blender made this, but it seems like an aesthetic. Again, seems like a stylistic choice, not something that a beginner would make, to be honest with you. So yeah, loved this as well. Then came Yash Parmar's render. I would slash the Titan. I was following your progress diligently on Discord, to be honest with you. Like, he posted a lot of progress. That's what I loved about this challenge. Like, everybody posted their renders on Discord and were asking people for their feedback, and then making changes, and then posting their progress, and then posting their progress again and again based on the feedback they were getting. I loved that. I did not expect that to happen on the Discord. So that was a fun thing, right? Great detail. I haven't watched Attack on the Titans, to be honest with you, but I know a little bit about it. Who doesn't, to be honest with you? But this is great. Love the fire embers here floating in the background. Look at the bouquet here because of them. I love details like that. And then the character here in the background, the way he just, like, look at the camera shake when the character just steps down. Like, look at the camera shake there. That's such a great detail. Yeah, great scene, great animation on the cape, great animation on the Titan. Yeah, love the embers, love the foreground element. Great story. Then comes Pratik. I would meet the morning with sunlight on my wheels and a friend in my door. Again, poetic. Cars here in the foreground. Love the lighting on the backlight of the car. And then the character walks in. There's a cat here. Pretty cool. Cool guy. World is ending, and he'd go for a ride with a friend. And there's a person jogging in the background, which is a great detail, right? And the car passes by. Stuff like that, you don't notice right away, right? You have to look at the render for a few times to find these details. But love it. Love the cat. Love the car just rolling into and just almost crushing the cat. Love that angle. Yeah, great story, great render quality, great color grade as well. Love this. Then came Weber, if I'm not wrong, based on the consonants that I see there. I would spend it with the soul I treat my lifetime with. Again, simple concept, cliche, but just look at the stylistic choices here. The grass are just hair particles. There's a rose model here, which is low poly and has a particular style. The characters look like a certain style. The background here just looks like an image, if I'm not wrong. Great stylistic choice. It could have a little bit of wind animation, right? Maybe. If you could add like a little bit of animation here, it would feel more alive. Right now it feels a little dead because there's literally no motion at all except for the camera. But again, maybe you couldn't afford rendering an animation or making it on your computer if you don't have a strong computer. I understand that, but this is a great way to implement a simple cliche relatable idea in a nice stylistic way. Yeah. Then comes the render by Arv Arts. I'd create one last render. This is following that same theme. A lot of people, I think 3 people sent in the idea of rendering stuff for the last time, right? I think a lot of Blender users can relate to that. Oh, the world is ending, but let me just finish this render up real quick, right? A lot of people would relate to that. Love the food stuff in the foreground and then the room design here. I think the only feedback I have here is the background here. The wall here has way too much normal and bump values. It seems procedural. I can see the noise texture clearly on there. You could use like a regular plaster texture there or like just simple paint material there. That's the only feedback I have. But the details here, I love the Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles and the F1 cars and the keyboards and the RGB lighting and the Spotify background. You're listening to the F1 soundtrack, which is cool. The chair, the lights here, the hexagonal lights, the TV, all of it. Details are great. I think it could work. You didn't need to put a watermark. I don't think anybody intends to steal this, but you know, I love that you're putting your stamp on it. I love that. A lot of people did that as well. So yeah, pretty cool. Overall, pretty cool. Work on the wall texture and you'd be good. Then came the render by Zug Long. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name, but that's what I read there. I'd find a high place and quietly watch the world end. Love the Gautam Buddha sculpture here. Love the bald guy smoking a cigarette in the foreground, and love the explosions in the background. I feel like explosions, with the availability of so many VDBs for free or paid online, I feel like a lot of people are not afraid of rendering explosions anymore, and that's why I see a lot of cool looking explosions throughout this timeline. Like, look at the explosion. Look how cool it looks. Boom. And look at the lens flare that appears on the camera because of it. I don't know how the hell you did that. Pretty cool. Yeah. I kept the watermark to add another color variety. Sure, man. You don't have to defend it. Boom. Love this. Great render. Great story as well. This one is from Avijit. I would live like a pirate captain, free while doing whatever I want. Great story again. Love the ocean simulation here. Love the foam on it. And then the really quick cannonball that appears from the ship. Boom. Boom. I love that. And the way the ship moves with the water, the clouds in the background, the ship design and the things flapping, the cloth thing flapping in the background. Great details. Yeah. Love it. Then came the render by Will Heap. I would make it out. There's just an astronaut chilling in space while the world is ending. Such a chill, nonchalant guy, right? Pretty cool. Love the vibes on this. Another one of these space renders. I think there are 5 or 6 space renders. Loved each one of them. This is great. I can see the self fracture appearing, which is, yeah, pretty cool. Love this one. This one is from Night Shift Render. I would live stream it. Now that seems like, again, something people would actually do. Like, oh, the world is ending. No better opportunity to start a live stream. So this is great. The departure countdown and the character is just, look at the lag. I love that detail. Like the character stands up and there's a tiny lag before it appears in OBS or whatever streaming software is using. I do see my logo as well in the background. Work faster. Is that something I said? I could have said that. I love the the food cans and eaten, left out, whatever food canisters here in the background as well, because streamers might be doing that, right? I've seen a lot of streamers not taking care of their rooms. Pretty cool. Love the idea here. Something that would actually happen. Love the beam that takes him away as well, because the departure timeline was going down. Love this one. Pretty funny. Pretty relatable, and I think something that would actually happen in the real world. This one is from I have no idea how to say that username. Run for you? Run for you. I would hold on and try, and even when there's no time left, there's a photo of a character, probably his husband, her husband, or something like that. And then she's trying to enter or like log down her apartment or enter into an apartment in his memory or something like that. The story is pretty cool. Love the vibes here, the dusky vibes, the dust particles are pretty cool. Yeah, I think you could have denoised this part. I think I can see the particles, the fireflies here, but that's okay. I can understand that you couldn't do it. That's fine. Give me a second. Yeah. All right, this one is from Sugandh X. I would feel the wind. Love the hair dynamics on this. Look at the hair animation here. Woohoo! And look at the flappiness on the bag as well and the cloth as well. That would have taken a lot of effort, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I love this. And then I think you could work on the smoke simulation here. That looks a little weird. Not gonna lie, but it's a great idea. A great use of the template file as well. Like you focus on this guy and then focus on the guy falling just below him, which is lovely. And he has a GoPro on his helmet, and they do this thing, right? They have these flares set up on their feet. That's a real thing that they do, right? And the clouds going through the character, right? Look at the clouds going through the character here. Yeah. Love the hair animation in this. No matter what I say, that's the best part here. Yeah, great work. This one is from CG God. That is a bold claim. But I would live the perfect day and go camping. Again, great camping. Set up a wood cutter, wood axe thing in the foreground. And then this camp here in the background. You could add a little bit of leaf animation here in the background. If possible, that would add some motion into the whole thing. Some flapping animation on the tent thing, and the grass could also move. But it's okay. Again, you could have a weak computer and you couldn't render it probably. But this is great. I love this. Yeah. This one is from Ethan, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong. Apologies if I'm butchering your name. I would live loud but die louder like a V8 engine. That is a unique angle to look at it. Love the tires here to the car. The car is crashing probably. That's how they are dying, which is again a unique way to look at this last 24 hours angle. And then I love the sparks here. You could animate the tire swinging a little bit and then the sparks moving a little bit, add a little bit motion to the whole thing, but it's okay. Again, I love the story here. Then comes it's Dev. I'll sit back and let the world burn beautifully. Look at the explosion here. Like the leaf animation is great, but look at the explosion there. God damn, he's just chilling on his chair while the whole world is burning down. That is a cool guy right there. Love the explosion on this one. I think this might be my favorite explosion throughout the render. Look at the scale of that. God damn, I think you just took a VDB and just scaled it up. But I don't mind it. This is lovely. I love this. Great render. Good job. This one is from Nitrite. I would watch the moon for the last time. Love the skull here. Love the robot here in the background. And is it raining? Because I can see rain droplets falling through the moon here, which is a cool detail. Love the vibe here. This apocalyptic, post-apocalyptic robot takeover kind of vibe. I love that. Yeah, great render. Good job. Oops. This one is from Mosey Z. I'd like you to open the damn door. This is a cool angle. There's a zombie-like character eating this cat. And there's someone running away from the zombies, and she's asking for the other person behind that door to open the door up. Which is such a cool, funny way to look at the whole thing. I love the animation of this. This guy's just eating the cat, and the cat is just, I don't know, probably enjoying it. Right? And then he looks back like, what the hell is going on? And then this character is just trying to shove open the door. Love the story here. Yeah. This one is from Nabil. I would watch it end from the clouds above. Look at the hand twitch here. It's such a tiny detail. Again, the people who made like fully still renders, this is all you had to do. You had to just put in like a little bit of wiggle animation on some things, and you'd be done. I love this. The clock, the clouds, the whole, I don't know what this is, but love the cloudy vibe of the whole scene here. Love this. Yeah, great job. We're almost there, by the way. I think a few more renders to go, around 10 or 15, and then we'll reveal the winners one by one. Not the winners, but the top 16 entries. You can see the timeline here, right? Let's go through each of them and then reveal the winners. Yeah. This one is from Pixel Bender. Our face, the end with a song, a warm meal, and loyal souls beside me. God damn. Look at the embers here from the fire. And that's not it. Look at the lava here in the background. Love the lava animation here. Yeah. The scale is a little off, but again, who cares, man? Look at the dog. God damn. Look at the moths here on the right. Love the detail. Look at the fire here. Damn. Yeah, great work. I see the temple here in the background as well, by the way. Yeah, good job. Love this. Next one is from Lingesh. I would sit back and let my memories play their final show. Great idea, like a Black Mirror kind of idea, where you see the timeline. It says now playing live, and this is probably the last 24 hours running down, right? If I'm not wrong. Or is it the opposite way? Only 4 minutes left to live. And then the character is just in a sci-fi environment going through his memories through some instrument, some VR headset kind of instrument. Love the idea here. Great job. Again, this also had these lines here, which I don't know how you got it. I don't know what the issue was with a lot of exports. I think this is either Resolve or Premiere Pro messing with your render through some de-interlacing or interlacing. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, you gotta take care of that next time. But it's fine. The render is cool. The vibes are cool. The color grading is great. The cyan, orange vibe and green vibe is great. Love the curtains and the TV flickering in the background as well. Great render. This one is from Mukundan. I would make sure that your life is full of happy memories in the end. Great idea in a cemetery, and a quote on what do you call this? I don't know what the term is for this cobblestone kind of thing. I'm trying to remember what do people say? God, I can't remember. But I love this. Make sure that your life is full of happy memories in the end. And then this fairy appears, angel appears, and these memories pop up here behind the character. Love the story here. Mom, dad, me. Pretty cool, right? Grave. That's not the word I was thinking of. It's called headstone. Is that what it's called? Headstone? Headstone, yes. Harris, thank you, sir, so much. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. This one is from Manjuram. I would fight with the Grim Reaper before I let go. I think this guy sent in like two options, and this is the one that I liked more. Love the love the watermark here as well, and the vibes here in the background are crazy. Like these dust particles and this Grim Reaper like character and this cult like icons here in the background, and these lamps here. Love the uniqueness of this render. Pretty cool. And the trees here in the background, great job. Then came the render by Junaid. I'd keep my finger on the trigger until my time runs out. Great post-apocalyptic kind of vibes. Love the animation on the apple breaking, and then it's revealed that it was fired from this guy. Love the character animation on, like look at the shell coming out of the shotgun, and there are 3 shells already on the floor. Love the details there. Yeah, pretty cool. Great job. And why is there's a bed here? I think he sleeps here. Such great details. Love that. Sorry about that. This one is from Nico. I would escape from them. I don't know what your foreground element is, if I'm being honest. Is that like a portal or a photograph? I'm not sure what's going on there. But I love the background element here. The water and the boat and the animation there. Yeah, pretty cool. And the sunset and the water. A lot of people chose this path of taking a boat. Like you could either take a spaceship, go to space, or you could take a boat and go to the ocean or whatever, right? That's 2 angles that a lot of people took. You could explain what your foreground is if you are available here online, but if not, that's fine. Ping me on the Discord, but I couldn't get what your foreground element was. But it doesn't matter. The story is clear that you would go away on a boat. I can look at the suitcase here as well in the silhouette. Then comes blend mesh. I would fight to survive. Love the anime. Look at the animation on the leopard. Ooh, can you imagine looking at that from your tent? Love it. I think this guy is also like a early user, right? But again, I don't care about how the render looks, like photorealism wise. I love the stylistic approach you have here on this render. Love this. Then came the one from Sandy EXT. I would wander into space. Great. Again, another space angle. I could not get enough of these space renders. Earth in the background, a spaceship in the foreground, and some lens flares in the background. What is that? Is that the sun? Probably, right? Or a star or something bright in the space. Love the spaceship design. Yeah. And the sound effect on this was top notch. I remember the sound design on this. Pretty cool. Sorry about that. Then this is the render from 9 Saishin. I would take a dive into the Mediterranean Sea. Again, great great sound design. When he jumps into the water, there's a sound effect where the character says, "Ooh, cannonball!" and then drops into the ocean, which I loved. Love the flower element here. You could add something that would like contribute to the story overall in the foreground. I think a lot of people just put in something pretty looking in the foreground and then didn't think about how it matches with the background. But that's fine. The water animation is great. The jumping animation is great. The cannonball splash is great. Love this. Great job. Then comes the render from Asgar. I would tick off every dream on my bucket list, starting with skydiving. Love the nice animation on these characters. Look at that. This is another skydiving one. I think we had another one behind this, but again, love this. Love the nice animation on them. And great foreground and background element. Like they match together. The story is clear. Great code submitted. Great job. Then comes the render by official HGC. I would rather end it than let it rot for someone else to find. Great storytelling. Look at the monster here. Look at this character. I don't know if this is a pre-made character or you made it yourself, but this is great. This is creepy as hell. Look at this old lady. Ugh, gross as fuck. I love the sparkle animation on this thing as well. Pretty cool. Yeah, love this. Hey, who's this handsome man on my screen? Atty, so long, dude. It's been so long. Welcome. Yeah. This is great. I love this. Great vibes. Look at the trees. Look at this. Look at the orange and cyan color grade here. Pretty cool. Love this entry. And then came the entry by Atomic 3D. I would go Super Saiyan, but the clones formed a snack cult and the cat is God. That is a lot of storytelling in just one quote. Look at the Super Saiyan animation here. And then look at the cat here. The cat is crazy. The cat is God, basically. And there's a snack cult going on here, and all the characters look the same, which again tells a great story. And what are they watching? Are they watching Dragon Ball Z here in the background? What is that? One Piece? I'm not up to date with all the latest anime, so it could be something else. But they're just chilling, and the cat, I love the cat. I don't care about Goku, I care about the cat. Yeah. Pretty cool. Great concept, great story. This one is from Randomists. I would fight the invaders. Love the rain animation on this. I think he didn't mean to have it like this. I think this was a visual artifact, if I remember right. But I love the glitchiness of the rain, and then the character appears, and the fire, and the overall planet in the background. I love it. I don't mind it at all. If this was a stylistic choice, great. If this was a mistake, even better. This looks awesome to me. Yeah, pretty cool. Great submission. This one is from It's Al Baksh, probably. I would hold on to the hope of never giving up. Great foreground element. If you are still alive, open the box. There is hope. That is great. The ship model looks great. The helicopter model looks great. The biggest issue you have is the noise here. I could not solve it. I tried my best to get rid of this noise, tried to denoise it, just couldn't do it. You could have pinged me that you are having this issue and I would be able to help you, but you just submitted the temporal noise thing, which is fine, I understand. But next time, if you have an issue like this, anybody, if you have an issue like this, you could just ping me and then I would help you out in some way or the other. But yeah, this is a great idea. It's just ruined by this noise here in the background. But it's fine. It's okay. It happens. Then came the submission from Sandy. I'll just carry on like it's any other Tuesday. I'm not sure if I should show this on YouTube or not, but even this looks great. Look at the squishiness of the brain. God. And look at the eyes go up here and then coming back down. Like he's alive still and the blood just pooling here. Boom, and the character falling down and the explosion, the wave of the explosion is great here. The camera shake just sells it so well. And the guy is just smoking a cigarette in the background. That's just badass. Yeah, pretty cool render. Love the squishiness of the brain, by the way. That, I don't know how you did that. Pretty cool. Anyway, moving on, this one is from Ann Apple. I would sail as far as possible. This, again, seems like an angle that a lot of people took, right? That's no cigarette, that's a cigar. I'm sorry, is that a cigar? Oh, that's not a cigar either. That's something else. That's what's making you cool, isn't it? I'm sorry. Anyway, love the detail here on this buoy kind of thing. 44 nm from the shore. I love the animation on the boat and the water. Great vibes. Great sunset. Yeah, love this. Again, a lot of people took the boat route. I would never go to a boat while the world was ending. That would be a horrible decision, but sure. I would rather go to space than land on a huge water body. I think that would be a recipe for disaster. Sorry about that. All right. Let's keep going. This one is from Extraordinary. I don't know what the hell is up with this render. I would escape the end in a rocket ship with baddies. What the hell is up with the foreground character? Is she having like a stroke or is she about to throw up? What is up with her? The baddie I do understand, right? Look at her animation. I love that. It's so ridiculous. I thought someone was kidding, like when they submitted this, they just wanted to submit something. But then I sat with it and I observed it. And I'm like, oh, this is someone who made like this. This was a conscious render by somebody. I love the silliness of it and the jankiness of it. Great story. I hope this frame doesn't land me in trouble, but this is. God only knows what's going on here. But I love it. I love the story here and the characters here. Anyway, moving on. This one is from Dhaya Murugesh. I would give my final song to those crushed by what they never chose. Again, great poetic quote. Love the candles here. Love the grayscale and orange vibes. I love that color grade. Love the animation on the character. And look at the facial expression on that dude. The body seems smaller in comparison to the face. I don't know if that was a stylistic choice. I think you could fix that if that was not a stylistic choice. And this fire could have been a little better. I don't know if that's a simulation or just an image projection, but I love the candles, love the subsurface here, love the lens dirt here in the frame, and then the background is great. The gray vibes here in the background, great, and the single orange light from the right hand side, also great. Loved it. Then came the render from Fustain. Whoa, what did I press? Didn't mean to do that. Whoo, shit. Didn't mean to do that. Anyway, this one is from Fustain. I would go through all my old photos. I think this was a clever way to use the template. Like you see the fan appear and then you zoom out to the floor, right? This was like a top-down angle that I think only 2 people or 3 people used this format of top-down, which was a unique way of using this template. Yeah. Love the story here. That is something people would do. Look through old photos before the world ends. So I love that. Yeah. Then came the render from Nikhil. I blur through the street, chased not by cops, but by time itself. God damn. We see a car chase happening and a drift here. I think the only issue this render also had was a lot of temporal noise. Again, if you have an issue like this in the future, for future render challenges, just reach out to me and I'll help you out. Get rid of these noisy artifacts. But this was a great framing of the shot and great drifting animation. Love the car animations as well, and the vibes are great as well. It just needs a little more denoising, and that's it. Alright, this is the submission by Lunar Ryan. Am I pronouncing that right? I believe in salvation until the end. Again, using the non-photorealistic cheat code. Love the character here, love the symbols here. This person is praying to this god, and the camera moves up. The camera doesn't move up. I think this guy asked me, like, what? Can I just move the world up rather than move the camera? I thought like that was a clever way to use the template again. Love the monster there. Again, because this is in the non-photorealistic realm, it doesn't matter how it looks. It doesn't matter how the character looks, how the environment looks. Because this is in the NPR region, the realism of it doesn't matter. It's just a stylistic choice at this point, right? Love this one. Yeah, great character design on this character. I don't know if you made it yourself, but I love the skirt, love the hair, love these lines here in the hair, love the symbol here. Great job. Then came this render by Sai Swaroop. I'll play a piano concert for near and dear ones. There's a character here in the foreground. They have a photo here in the foreground just chilling. Is that generated with ChatGPT? Looks like it. Doesn't seem like a real photo. It's Princess Zelda. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not aware of that. Oh my god, that's embarrassing. I have never played that game. Yeah, pretty cool. love the character design here. Thank you for the context. I'm sorry, I know that is a world famous game, but I never played it, which is, yeah, I will rectify that in the future. Yeah, this character is crying, by the way, while the piano is being played, which I don't understand the story. She's like, the world is ending. Will you stop playing the piano and just sit down with me? I'm kidding. Great idea here. Loved this. I put some sound effects with the piano playing as well, just to sell it even more. But I love the idea here. Great job, Sai Swaroop. Lord Odin, you can reach out to Superluminal as well if you ever need help around. Yeah, that is too generous. He is one of the guys who is sponsoring the challenge as well. If you end up in the top 3 winners, you get some credits on his render farm, and it's a great add-on, by the way. So in the next challenges, if he's still available, I'll reach out to him, and anybody who is in need for like a render farm situation will reach out to him and make sure that random artifacts don't end up on our renders. Yeah, this is the last one. This is from Matt Con and Speak. I would have one more bite before getting stomped. This is a great way, again, a great angle into what the last 24 hours mean for this character. For this character, it's not the world ending. It's just someone coming up with a grass chopper towards them, right? Which is a great way to interpret this story. Love the design here on the ant and the way he's just eating this honey pile. Love that. And then the character approaching with a grass chopper is just, again, great. Love the extra details here with the bee and the mushroom here and the sunflowers here. Loved this render. Yeah, I think that's the end. This was my render that I was making on the live stream. Then I couldn't make it on the live stream, so I made it in my spare time, and this is what I came up with. This was a time machine concept where this little character here in the background has a clock which is running out. This is possibly the amount of time left before the world ends, and you can see some fans here in the background of the computer, and she presses enter. Boom. I did the motion capture for this, by the way. Yeah, boom, pressing enter, pulling a lever, then she jumps on a hoverboard, lands on this thing. This machine just brings out these rays of lasers, and she just, boom, goes back in time. This timer from 3 to 1 goes back to 59, as if the timer has been reset from scratch. You see the clock here. That was a great detail, I feel like. Look at the clock just rewinding there. And then I added some noise modifier here on the lamp. Boom, boom, boom. Because there's like a glitch happening, and the wire animation also sells the blast here. Look at the wire there. Yeah, and the smoke is just a 2D smoke card. And then boom. Time runs out. We come back to the foreground, and the timer is reset, and then we go back to the beginning of the 24-hour. It seems like the right way to end the compilation. Like the 24 hours were about to end, and I just rewinded the whole thing, and then we go back to the front of the compilation. That was the idea behind it. I did increase the length of the animation just so the story would work like that. So that's a cheat that I used, but I think it works with the story. So I hope nobody minds. Yeah. I think Stash won this challenge. Okay, I'll have all the add-ons and the credits, the render farm credits. I'll take all of it if I could. I was jealous when every one of the add-on creators said yes. Like, yeah, you could have. I don't have those add-ons. I just reached out to them on a fluke, and they just said yes. Right? A lot of those add-ons in the prize list, even I don't have. So that's the sad part. I wish I could win this, but I can't, which is sad. Anyway, these were all the submissions. Now let's look through the top 16 entries, and then we'll reveal the winners in a moment's time. Yeah, this is the top 16th entry. This one is from Studio in Making Official. I'd go on my long-awaited hike and sip my final coffee. Great render, again using the NPR cheat code. Love this render, love the vibes here, love the details here. I used it on a thumbnail, so that's a good thing, right? So you end up in the top 16 position. The only prize you get is you get to be part of a private Discord group with the top 16 members, right? That's the only prize I could afford to give to 15, 16 members. So that's the only thing you get, but I hope that's valuable enough for you. Great render, great job. Yeah, this is the 16th render. Now comes the top 15th render. This is from Official at GC. Great monster design here in the background. Love the design here. Love the monster here. Love the sparkles here in the foreground. This is a great vibe. I think the only thing that you could fix is this, I don't know, denoising artifacts that you get here on the sparkles, but that's about it. Great story, great character design, great vibes. Love the color grade on this. Loved it. You deserve to be in the top 15. Then came this render on the 14th position by Mike Dillick. Great render again, great story, a unique angle, animation on these characters, the cloth simulation on them. I don't want to zoom in. I hope you understand. The cloth, the pile of cloths just falling down here, a character, the animation here in the foreground, the dusk vibes, the animation on the curtain. Just loved it. Yeah. Great job. Then top 13th is this render from Anand. I would go on one last hike. Loved the animation of the smoke streams. Loved the the landscape design, the mountains and the people walking through the hike. Loved this. Great work. Yeah. You get the 13th position. Then comes the 12th position. This is the render by Boss Pod. I would steal a spaceship and gaze down upon the earth. The earth looks excellent. The spaceship looks excellent. The vibes here, the glow here, the overall color grade on it just looks fabulous. I loved this render. Loved the earth model on it. I might steal it someday. You gotta tell me where you got this earth model. The displacement on this continent is insanity. Beautiful. Love this. By the way, I gotta say, these are my choices, right? You could disagree with them. You could be like, oh, my render looks much better than the render that's higher above me. I hope you don't mind, but these are my personal choices. I hope there was a way to involve you guys into the whole voting situation as well, but that would just be chaotic, way too chaotic. So I'm just going through my own suggestion. You could disagree with them. And this is not about which position what render holds, to be honest with you. That's just one part of the challenge, to choose the top 15 or so renders. But I love each and every render. Even if you didn't end up in the top 16, it doesn't matter. It's about the whole community effort. I hope you understand that. This is just a way to appreciate the outliers, the renders that were, I feel like, had everything going right for them. They followed the rules. They had a good render quality. They had good stories. They had great, composition and stuff like that. I think those renders do deserve a shout out, and that's what this is. So don't take it to heart if you end up on a rank that you disagree with. I hope you don't mind. This is not about that. This is much bigger than that. I hope you're okay with that. Anyway, on the 11th rank, we have this render by Fru Hansen 17. I like the waves, wash my worries, love the design here in the foreground, love the grass wiggle, love the birds here in the foreground and the character just chilling, half naked. I love that. Great work. Good job. Then we come to the top 10 renders, and on the 10th position for me is this render, the ant render that we just looked at. The ant is asking for one more bite before she gets stopped, which is awesome. I love the story idea, love the render quality here in the foreground, love the character design, love the non-photorealistic vibe this has, loved that as well. Great job. All right. Then 9th position goes to name is Krishna. Love it. Love this one. I would follow warrior, not live as a coward. Again, great foreground element. Love the arrow through the thing, the helmet, and the character just falling down, or a rain of arrows falling on the character. The dead bodies, the detail, the cloth animation on the fog, the flag, and the thunderstorm in the background. Loved all of it. Well deserved 9th position. Then comes position 8. This is the render by Dylan Sim. I would fight to the death. Again, great miniature vibes. Love the explosion here in the background and the detail here with the wires and the buildings. And love the detail in the foreground as well. He made use of the whole focus plane here that was in the front. Like this is in focus, this is in focus. This stuff is out of focus, but he made full use of this whole plane, not only the left side or the center part or the right part. He made use of the whole thing, which is great. Yeah, love this render. Good job, man. Then comes the 7th position. This goes to capture painting. I would grab one last beer and laugh with my buddies at the old spot. Great non-photorealistic render. Love the clay vibes going on here. Love the design here. Love the shout out to the channel, and love the characters here in the background. Yeah, again, this cheat code is really a cheat code. Like if you make an NPR render, I just, can't ignore it anymore. Don't do that. Don't overdo it in the next challenge, but it's just a thing that I immediately get attracted to. Yeah, love this render. Great job, man. Then comes the top 6th render by Ghoulish Joe. Again, just great animation on the cat, great bow and arrow action, great explosion here, great character design. Loved it. Yeah, I mean, the vibes here, the grass shake here, the details are just insane. Yeah, loved it. Now, there are a lot of reasons why these renders are appearing in this order, right? I don't want to reveal why you ended up on this position and not on the first, second, or third position. Again, let's not get into that. Let's not get into this controversial territory. All that matters is you are in the final compilation, in the top whatever position you end up getting. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. This is not about winning or losing again. It's just about this community effort. When people look at that compilation video, I want them to feel proud of this community. That's all that matters, right? All of these positions, again, they're just, I don't know, there's just a tag to put in front of your name for the hard work that you put into your renders. That's it. Nothing else. I'm dying. I should have a sip of water. Give me a second. As we get in the top 5 renders, right? That's a good segue. All right. All right. Let's look at the top 5 renders now. In 5th position is this render by Wilson VFX. Great vibes. Love the animation on the hand. Love the lens flares and the lens dirt here in the foreground, and then the character in the background. Great stuff. I mean, I love the bodyguard here. Like, that is a detail that you didn't need to add, but you still did, and I love that. This is great. Love this render. Completely deserved top 5 position. Yeah, great job. Oof. Great vibes. And the sound design on this was also pretty cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for this submission. All right. top 4th submission is this render by Ren Shimabukuro, which is, yep. I mean, the detail on this is insane. Again, this is a render that I myself wouldn't be able to make. I don't know what credibility I have to even position it at any position. Actually, that applies to all the top 16 renders. I don't know, I could even beat any one of you, but this is just insane. I love the detail here, love the explosion in the background, love the detail in the city and the foreground. Look at the colors here in the bouquet here, in the greenish foreground elements. I love that. That is just awesome. Great job, well deserved 4th position. Again, don't take it to heart. I feel like that any of these top 16 could end up in the top 3 if someone else was judging this based on their bias and their choices. But yeah, this is just great. Being in the top 16 itself is a great, yeah, achievement in itself, I feel like. Are these a lot of VDB popping off? Probably, yeah. I don't think these are real Blender explosion. I don't think Blender is capable of generating something like that. At least not easily, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this is insane, right? Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the top 3. Finally, the prizes are mostly similar for all top 3, so it doesn't matter if you're 3rd, 2nd, or 1st. You're probably getting the same set of add-ons and packs and stuff. I think there are just a few add-ons that only the 1st and the 2nd positions get, but it doesn't matter. Again, this doesn't matter at all. If you ended up in the top 3, that in itself is a great achievement. And these 3 renders, I will explain why they were chosen to be top 3. That's it. Okay, let's get to the top 3rd position. I hope you're excited. This is the top 3rd render. The render by Wiz. I would bring my bike to life and escape before time runs out. Love this render. Look at the detail here. Look at as I said, look at the wallpaper here. Even that is animated. And the smoke simulation here for the hover bike in the background. The cloth line and the cloth shaking. And the foreground element is so cool. Look at this. Look at the imperfections on the desktop. And is that my motion capture episode? You bitch. You did not. I did not even notice that. This is great. Look at the animation here on the hover bike. There's a warning symbol like something is wrong with it. And this character is just getting ready to go on it. Love the design on the hover bike. Love the rope simulation on this. When he posted this on Discord, I was convinced he would end up in the top 10. Yeah, I know, right? This is just amazing. Love the purple lighting and the green lighting. Love the elements in the background as well. Like, look at the city behind here. Look at the detail there as well. That's a lot of hard work. So yeah, this is great. I love it. Totally deserved top 3 position. I think the only reason you're not in the top 2 is because the quote, I'd bring my hover back to life and escape before time runs out, is just slightly weaker than the rest of them. In my opinion, it doesn't matter if someone else was judging this and they cared more about the coolness of the idea. I think this would end up in the 1st or 2nd position. But to me, I think the only way you fall behind is the quote and the story of it all. But it doesn't matter. Again, don't take this feedback to heart. This is a personal suggestion and a personal opinion. It doesn't matter where you end up. This is a great render irrespective. Good job. I am proud of you, and you're getting you are getting like at least 15 add-ons for free. I showed them in the beginning of the compilation when this started in the compilation video. When the stream started, there are a bunch of add-ons. They're all listed on the Discord. I don't want to repeat them again and again and waste your time, but you're getting a bunch of add-ons, a custom t-shirt, free Patreon for 3 months, and I think a personal Discord group to chat with me directly. I think that's a bunch of prizes for the top 3 winners. Let's not repeat them again and again, because again, it's not about the prizes and the positions, but yeah, this is great. Let's go to Wiz is here. Thank you so much. Good job, man. This was amazing. Let's get to the 2nd render, and it's this render by Harish D. Roberts. What a great render. What a great story. Come home soon, Mom. I tried love. And the painting here with the family, and then goddamn, this was just amazing. And the details here in the background. are amazing as well. Look at the hand floating here in the foreground and the helmet floating here in the background, and the detail here with the pipes and the whole spaceship and the character just looking at Earth, and then these textures on the glass. Look at the detail here. I don't know if you modeled this all by yourself, I'm not sure, but this is just great. This is great design, great storytelling. The only reason you're not in the first position is because you had a lot of noise in your render, and I had to fix that. And that's the only reason. Harish, you're here? That's great, man. This is just great. I love this render. Again, you're not in the first position just because you had a little bit of noise in your background elements, and that's it. You were bound to be the first position, if I'm being honest, but you missed it just because you had a little tiny noisy artifacts in the background, and that's it. Great story. Love the lighting, love the storytelling, love the details. Great job. Hell yeah, that's my brother, you, Harry. Let's go, man. Love this render. Again, you're getting a bunch of add-ons, getting a free Patreon, getting a custom t-shirt. We'll talk about that later on. Need that temporal denoising tutorial, man? Yes, we will get to that. We'll get to that. But this is just great. Awesome job. Yeah. Congratulations, well deserved. Second position, loved this render. I think I saw it when you put it on Discord and I was like, oh, this is gonna be in the top 10 no matter what. Yeah, great job. And now, position 1, finally the winner of the first render challenge that we ever hosted on this channel is this render by this guy. What a great render. I think he deserves to win. The time machine concept, awesome concept. I love this. I think this guy deserves to win the first position. Yeah, great job. I'm kidding. That is not the first prize, of course. The first prize goes to the render by Alexo. It's Alexo. What a great render. Look at the quality on the teddy bear. I mean, come on. Is that even rendered in Blender? I am not sure, because this looks like, this is beautiful. I love the story here. The quote on this was, I'd wish for Andy to hold me one last time. That is, yeah. That was your favorite Just 3D things? I know, right? This was, yeah, just beautiful. Loved this one. It's on the thumbnail as well. Pretty cool. I don't think Alexo is here in the chat, I'm sure. Yeah, the storytelling is like, it hits you, right? It's probably the main character's kid or something like that, and he has left his stuffed toy behind, and he's just, still alive. Yeah. Alvin is here. Dude. Yep. Great render. Deserved to win first prize. And I think the only reason you're on the top, I think your story is great. I think first and second position, the first and second... I just read a chat message. I'm sorry. Delik, you winners are lucky because I did not use both my hands making my render. That is crazy. Anyway, the first two renders, I think the story on both of them are similar, like a parent just remembering their kid, right? And the only reason that you won, you're in the first position because of the render quality. I gotta talk to you, man, because the render quality here on the teddy bear is great. And the vibes and the lighting and the fire in the background is great. The storytelling is great. The details here are great. The lighting is great. Everything is perfect. So congratulations on first position. Again, it doesn't matter if you're first, second, or third. All the entries were just mind-blowing. While I was editing it, I had a smile across my face the whole time while I was editing the whole compilation video. In my mind, I was like, oh my God, people gotta see this. The stuff that people have made. And again, the whole point was to come up with a prompt that was, relatable. Like anybody, if you showed this compilation to your mother and said like, oh, what would a person do in the last 24 hours? I think this is a prompt that anybody can understand and think of a story in their head. And you could show this to anybody and they would appreciate it in their own way, right? Even if it's a silly story, right? If it's a shitty story, it's a childish story, or if it's just a funny story, it doesn't matter. The prompt is so relatable that people would just find it interesting. Anyway, yeah. All right, that's it. Who just won top 3? You got to check out the stream. I'm not going to repeat, but this is the first position right here. that you see on the screen. Great job by all of the entries. Let's not talk about the top 16 anymore, because again, it doesn't matter. Loved all the entries. I think we had like around 80 or 85 entries, which was insane in the first place. I did not expect so many people to submit. This video will go up in a few minutes. When this stream ends, I will upload this compilation video on the main channel. If you have any issues with, like, if I missed something or I misspelled your name, this is the moment that we talk about that. Let me change the view here. I'm sure you're tired of looking at Resolve. Let's look at my beautiful face now. Appreciate the work you put in, man. Loved the music as well. Let's go. It's a lot for a first challenge. Yeah, it was. But I think I understand now the mistakes I did and the things we could improve in the next challenge. I already have like a plan, a prompt ready for that as well. Yeah, drink water and hydrate. Yes, I am losing my voice almost because I'm too excited about this. I don't know if you can tell or not. Yeah, great challenge. I'm so happy with how things turned out. Let's see how people, I think the most people that are watching here are just part of this community, part of the Discord. So it's not a lot of people, right? 100 people might have showed up at some point, which is not a lot. The Blender community is huge, right? So I'm excited to see what reaction other people have, right? When we put this compilation video up on the main channel, let's see what people say there, because that will be a whole other set of reaction to that whole compilation video. Because the main purpose of this challenge was to make that compilation video at the end of it all. So yeah, looking especially handsome. Thank you so much. Wait, I've got more stuff. Thank you very much, Renderite. Thank you for the review. I'll work on my storytelling from next time for sure. You don't need to worry about it. First of all, these feedback, you can ignore it if you want. Yeah. Already up for the next challenge. Great job. I like that, because I don't need 5,000 people to submit. If I get like more than 50 submissions, good submissions, I'm happy with it, right? And we'll keep, I think this time the winners got all the add-ons, which was not great, right? Only the top 3 winners got a bunch of add-ons. But from next time, we will distribute it in a nice way so that every position holder in the top 10 or top 15 gets something. I think that would be a cooler way, a better way to do it. Gotta participate in the next challenge? I will take your word for it. If you don't, we're not friends anymore. All right, that was it. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure when the main video goes up, leave a comment, let people know which render you uploaded, and let them know that this was your entry. Share it with your friends. If you are a winner, if you're in the top 16, let them know that you positioned in the top 16. That's a great thing. Learned a lot. See, that's very important. Are you from Pakistan? No, I'm from India. Much love from Kenya. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you for participating. Thank you for joining in. Again, had so much fun with this challenge. Did not think that this would take so much effort to make that final compilation video, to be honest. That's why it took a little extra time, Sorry about that. But eventually, in the future, I am 100% sure that I will do it more efficiently. Yeah. Are the top 16/3 marked in the compilation video? No, they're not. You're gonna have to check out this stream. Just go back a little bit and you'll find the winners. By the way, do you intend to organize another challenge soon? Probably in September or October, probably. A big congratulations to the winners. It was an incredible experience being part of this community, and a special shout out to Stash on a great challenge. Cheers to everyone. Good job. Let's go. All right. Great job, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. It's getting late, so it's time to sleep. For me, I don't know what time you guys are on. Yo, it's almost 1 a.m., mate. The dedication is insane. Thank you for the challenge. Cheers, Capture Painting. Some nice guy would timestamp the top 3 in the comment. That is true. If they don't, I'll make sure I do it. What a joy it was. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for participating. Thank you so much. I will see you guys. A video is coming soon, I think, in a month's time or so. Or probably earlier, I don't know. Yeah, got a lot of stuff planned for the next 6 months or 4 months, let's say. Yeah, all right. I will ping all the winners I will email them, all the top 16 holders and all the top 3 winners. I'll email them and we'll handle the pricing and all that stuff after Monday, because I can't do it right now. There are a lot of moving parts in distributing those prizes. So if you are in the top 16 or in the top 3, I will ping you. Just wait for an email on Monday and then we'll get the prizes rolling out pretty soon. I couldn't do that live here right now on the stream. I just couldn't do it. There were so many moving parts. But yeah, we'll get to it on Monday. Thanks for joining in. Have a great weekend. Have a great Saturday. Have a great Sunday. Hope you had fun with the challenge. A new one will be coming very soon. Thank you for participating. Bye-bye. This was the last 24 challenge. And I'll see you guys in the next challenge. Peace out.